Three people pointed to this guy, and he was like Dallas Cowboy linebacker, huge, going up there. So I go up there, hey, sir, try to pull him off to the side because I don't want to make a scene and stuff. Getting legal documents is not a fun thing to do. So try to keep it low key and say, hey, sir, I'm sorry to bother you. I have some legal documents for your business. And then right at that point, he snapped. You blankety blanky MFer and all this. You get off my property. Yes, sir, no problem. And, so I dropped it right down there on the driveway and started walking off. I turned around and walked off, and all of a sudden I started hearing feet moving.
So the big question is this: how can we as legal support professionals find the clients that we really want while running a business and still finding time to get people served? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Michael Reed, the podcast server, and I want to welcome you to PSD University. Our guest today is the president and CEO of Express Process. He's the Texas training director, and he has been serving papers since '96 when he left the security force for the United States AirForce. I'm so excited to be able to have him come on. He's a training director in Texas, and he has been bringing some major value to the industry for a long time. And so he deserves to be highlighted a little bit here. And I think he's a really great guy. So Dan Brulette, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting to be able to bring people in from Texas. Texas is one of the most lively places when it comes to new servers and everybody. It's crazy. Why don't we talk a little bit about you? I want to dive into your particular story. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the industry.
Well, when I got out of the Air Force as a security police instructor, I bopped around a little bit as a courier within San Antonio. And then a buddy of mine, it was a PI, he said, hey, Dan, I need help in my process serving. I'm getting slammed in with a bunch of investigations. I need to keep that side going. I said, okay, what do I do? So he showed me, and off we went from there. That was back, 24 years ago.
Wow, and so you've just been hard at it ever since. And so Express Process, did that used to be like Dan DBA Express Process?
Yeah, DBA Express Process way back when. A couple years ago we went to LLC for it.
That's cool. Yeah, that's how we all start out, it seems like. So that's great. And then now things are going really well. How about your personal life? You're married? You got kids?
Yes, married, 34 years, 2 boys. They're grown and out. And then our daughter is now out as well. She's Dasha. We adopted her from Vladivostok, Russia.
Oh, wow. That's got to be hard for you.
It was fun. We're starting to enjoy, hopefully, the empty nester life here coming up. So, they're all 21 and older. So
you're like, yes, finally. Okay. Yeah, I think my baby, when she finally moves out, she's 6 years old or 7 years old now. Man, she's growing up fast. And I don't know. I think I'm going to be crying baby when she finally moves out.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you have 8. I just have 3. So
yeah, she's the youngest. So, well, that's cool. So, so there's a reason, Dan, you're on the show. We're kind of just talking about all the great things you have going on and like the business that you've built over these many years. But let's dive into your worst experience working in the field.
Oh, wow. I would say this was probably pretty early in my career. My son was 10 years old at the time, and he was with Pops driving around, my oldest son, and we went to serve this gentleman's business here, but he was in a gated community. And so, you pull up to the gated community, it's closed, find him on the code pad, open it, hit it, start speaking to a woman on the phone. Hey, I have a delivery for so-and-so. Oh, we weren't expecting anything. And then just as she finished that sentence, the gate beeped and started opening up. I thought she'd let me in to go do it, but no, it was the guy behind me pushing the clicker going, get out the way, you fool. I'm trying to get home. And so we're driving down in the minivan, and I got the windows down because I'm a cheapskate at the time, not running air conditioner, in the middle of summer. That was pretty dumb, but so you pull down, and then you do a 90-degree turn on the street, and then you're trying to calculate where the house is down there, and you realize, there's a lot of cars where I'm going. So I pull up in the yard right sort of next to their driveway and get out, and just as I'm getting out, this go-kart comes zooming around with about 20 kids on it that park in the driveway. They bail, another 20 or so get on it and goes zooming out. And so there's about 8 adults in the driveway. And so I try playing dumb and stupid when I go up. So I just started bopping up there saying, hey, I have a delivery for so-and-so. And then 3 people pointed to this guy, and he was like Dallas Cowboy linebacker, huge, going up there. So I go up there, hey, sir, try to pull him off to the side because I don't want to make a scene and stuff. Getting legal documents is not a fun thing to do. So try to keep it low key and say, hey, sir, I'm sorry to bother you. I have some legal documents for your business. And then right at that point, he snapped. you blankety blanky MFer and all this, you get off my property. Yes, sir, no problem. And, so I dropped it right down there on the driveway and started walking off. I turned around and walked off, and all of a sudden I started hearing feet moving. That sound you get. I immediately turned around and see him pick these papers up, and they were about an inch thick, right? Real thick. And he just threw them at me. And it hit me in the solar plexus, and yeah, it hurt. It hurt a little bit, but the staple let go. And the wind was doing about 30 knots. So these papers went 3 yards scattered down along his thing. And at that point, he's just cursing. I'm already off this property. You blank, come in. And of course, Dad, the smart thing, he had the windows down. And the way I parked my son was at the sidewalk next to his property type thing. So he's just cursing up the storm. And I'm scared because I'm like, man, this guy's going to hurt me. And I'm not packing or doing anything at that time. And so it's like, oh. And
for sure. Yeah, that's crazy.
I said, no, sir, you told me to get off the property. I'm not coming back on here. I'll kick your butt in front of your son. And so I turn to go around the vehicle now. And all of a sudden this cup comes whizzing by my head, a little solo cup where, oh, great. He's drunk now having a party. And by the time I got in the car, of course, my keys are in the back. He's yelling through the window in the passenger side where my 10-year-old son is going, hey, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to kill you. Get up, come back here. No, sir. And I'm trying to fumble for the keys and drive off scared, shaking. Because like I said, I'm 6 foot, but this guy was, felt like, another foot taller and 100 pounds heavier.
Wow.
So, and plus there's, 6 or 7 other witnesses there. So got there and drove off.
That's crazy. So there's a couple things, and like we can go dive into that a little more, but basically there's a few things that really just resonate with me, and that is that, first of all, I've experienced some similar situations when it comes to having kids in the car. Like I am a different person, I've noticed, when my kids are in the car. Like I'm just different. Like I serve differently, and I didn't know it, and I realized it. So your story resonates with me on many levels, because I had a situation where I went in to go serve something, and the guy followed me to the car. And whereas before, when I had been followed to the car, my mind was like, hey, look, no problem, man. Hey, I'm just a delivery guy. I'm just like, hey, I'm so sorry. But in other times when this guy followed me to a car this one time, like you're saying this guy did, like my mind was in a totally different place. Like, I will hurt you. Like that's where my mind went. Like, like you follow me to my car and now I'm hurting you. That's the situation that we are now in, because my kids are in the car. So like, but still you're trying to be this professional, and like you can't really do that. So you find yourself in a situation where you don't want to like harm someone else, and you don't want your children to be around that or to be harmed or to experience that kind of trauma. And it's just crazy. So what did you do? So then you got the key in, he didn't do anything else. You drove off?
And I drove off. My son was just bawling. Yeah. I said, it's okay. Let's go get some ice cream. And then it's like, okay. But he will not be a process server today. He's an investment banker now. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, good for him. Yeah, I always tell my kids, my oldest son now wants to serve, and he's got this like calm demeanor about him, but he's not good with conflict. He just like gets real quiet and walks away. I told him, I said, someday somebody's going to get in your face. Somebody's going to give you a little guff, and it's not going to be a quiet walking away, because they're not going to let you walk to your car or whatever. Like there's just going to be a situation where you're going to have to verbally deal with this. And so.
Yeah, it was just getting the windows up and getting out of there, and calling, hey, what do I do? My mentor at the time.
That's good. So now, where did you get your training? Where did you learn all of this stuff?
I basically learned a lot of it on my own with it. Andrew showed me how to do it, the PI a little bit, but then I started studying other people that were doing it. I was trying to learn all the rules that I could. I joined the Texas Process Servers Association. That's our statewide organization that helps other process servers up, and just became really a student of the business. I think I developed that because of my career. I always patterned my career business after who was making the most money for the career, what were they doing, and how could I pattern myself after them. And so that's what I've always done, and eventually started training people how to do all that and how to do the service and do it properly.
So I love that, because when I first started, they have the state association here in California has the CALS Pro. And they have a great training program, not beating up on that at all. But when I went to the program, they didn't have anything that showed me how to complete the proofs. And I was like, I feel like I could learn everything else on YouTube, right? Go to almost go knock on the door, trial and error. You get beat up a couple of times, you end up making some money. Well, the paperwork is where you really need the most help when you first get started. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because, doing the, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? learning what you can, asking folks, how do you do it? I mean, asking the question is a big thing. Go to somebody that knows and, hey, how do you fill this out? People are willing to help out big time. Mm-hmm. Like I said, with CalSpro, with TPSA, with you, with me, we're that type that want to give back to the community and help them out. And so I think that's a big thing, is finding that place to go do it so you don't feel so scared. I mean, that first paper I did, I was shaking when I gave it to them. I was worried I was giving them everything and not saving a return to file back with the court.
Well, that's a valid concern. Some places where I've gotten documents, I've gotten originals, and they're like, we actually need this summons back, so serve the other summons, or they, or I'll go and pick up a document. Listen, if you're a newbie, listen to this one, right? You go to the postal station or the post office or whatever, you meet somebody, they give you the documents, they pay you, you're like, yes, you go serve it. You're like, what did I just serve?
Yeah, he called my attorney up. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Attorney, what documents did I just serve? Because I forgot to write it on my note sheet.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe we've all done that, especially if we've kind of did our own startup. So good deal. Okay, so what I've taken from your story is when you go out there, you just never know what's going to happen. So
that's correct.
So be prepared. Keep your cool. Right? You were upset, you were nervous. It was like a crazy kind of experience, like any of us would be. But you kept your cool, and you got in your car and you left. So, what do you do now after that experience? Do you find yourself still taking your kids serving or no?
Well, not so much. Like I said, they're older now and on their own.
That's true.
I normally don't do that. I mean, very rarely have I been put in a situation where it's dangerous. Yes, I've had a couple weapons pointed at me, but I didn't feel threatened, even though they were pointed at me, because of how the conversation was going. No paper's worth getting beat up, shot, or killed or whatever. And just having your wits about you when you're doing it and being able to talk people off the ledge is very good.
I think
I'm non-confrontational if I can be.
What's that?
I'm non-confrontational if I can be. I want to be low-key and get out of there and, not cause a scene. But sometimes it happens.
Yeah, so that is great. So let's move from your worst story, okay, your worst experience in the field. That's a pretty bad one. And let's dive into your greatest experience in this industry.
Well, I have several, but I think the best one that I like talking about is we were serving back when the company I was working for had the Attorney General contract for child support. You're doing 100 papers a month just in the few zip codes you're doing for this one customer, right? And so, because they have so many child support papers out there, that we got one for the Attorney General. They said on their note sheet, you will not find this guy, and you have to go to these 4 addresses. So it's like 4 addresses, like, oh my gosh. And of course, back then it's only standard price for all 4 addresses, so you didn't get additional. So, I go to the first one, and it's his grandmother. Hey, Miss So-and-so, I'm sorry to bother you. I have some legal documents. So, hey, is this about his child support? Yeah, it's about his child support. Then I go to the cousin. Then I go to the brother. Then I go to another uncle or whatever. So I'm leaving my business card with them and going there. And just, like I said, hey, I'm sorry to bother you with this. And then the next day I get a phone call from this guy. And he goes, and this is after the Attorney General said that you are not going to find him, but you still have to make the effort. And so he calls me up. We schedule an appointment. I go over there, meet him. I give him the papers. And he says, Dan, here's my business card with my real cell phone number. That was a burner I called you from. I want to have 8 more papers coming for 8 more children. I said, dude, you've been busy. And he says, the reason why I called you is because you're the first process server that treated my family with respect, did not prejudge me or do anything like that. And I said, well, I appreciate it. So anytime I got to serve now for him, hey, Billy Ray, yeah, it's Dan. You got another one? Yep, come on by. One and done, for this guy, because you treat with respect. You don't prejudge people with that.
I like that.
So, how do you want to be treated?
I love that. And one of the reasons I like that a lot is, well, there's a few reasons, but one of the reasons is, we all make mistakes, and like we're all at different points in our lives, and we all do different things for different reasons. And like you're not them. So you don't know why they're getting evicted, or you don't know why they're getting these child support. As someone a divorced father myself, I've been served divorce papers. I've been served child support papers, and I've paid child support, and I have, so just because they're getting served doesn't necessarily mean that they're, don't judge them.
Well, exactly. And, that's the beauty of our legal system. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to due process in this country to hear your side of the story. What you're serving is only one side of the story. Then there's the person that you're serving story, and then there's the story the judge is going to go, that side of that coin.
I love that. I love the saying also, there are three sides of the story, one being truth.
That's
And
right.
so, and then each of the parties. And so, yeah, the judge definitely, he's got to decide, okay, what is the truth? Here's this person's story. Here's this person's story. And what is the truth? So the other thing about that is when you go in with that, I love when you were saying like, you go up to the door kind of bopping around. That's kind of the way you put it. Like, yeah. I feel like that's how I am too. When I go to the door and I knock and they come out, as soon as I know they can hear me, my whole voice kind of changes to like, hello, how's it going? Have you ever seen the Elsa movie? What is it? Frozen, where the guy's like, welcome to Okansana. Yeah, because it's non-threatening and right away it just sets the tone for kindness, I guess.
Exactly. And, I tell folks that I don't mind playing dumb and stupid because people love helping dumb and stupid people. Hey, can you help me? I don't know if I'm in the right spot. I'm a doofus. I think I got the wrong address. Can you help me? Because it gives them a feeling of self-worth for themselves. Hey, they're trying to help somebody out.
Sorry,
I got some legal documents for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not making money, but, you want to empathize.
No, that's good. Yeah. Things happen. And, sometimes I've actually asked myself, like, should I feel so good about this, right? Because you come back to the car and you're like, yes, personal service. I got 5 personal services today. And you're like all happy. And like, you just walked away from 5 people who are like looking down sad.
Yeah.
It's just the job. Someone's got to do it. And I figure it's better that I do it and I can do it in a kind way instead of having some guy Yahoo out there serving them. And
definitely.
So that's a great experience. What do you want Server Nation to take from your greatest experience?
Well, one of the big things for that is, treat people with respect. The golden rule, how do you want to be treated? Because like you said, everybody's at a different point in life. Things happen. Every door you go to, that's what I like about this business. Every door you go to, it's a different person who woke up on the wrong side of the bed or the correct side of the bed or is going through troubles. And so, yes, it's part of the legal system we're doing. So I don't get bent out of shape like I used to with it, especially like divorce cases. I used to hate serving those. But it's like, okay, there's a reason our system's set up this way.
That's awesome.
So how do you want to be treated is the best thing. And treat others with respect. It goes a long way in the long run. I don't like pretending to be someone I'm not when I'm serving. You hear a lot of these folks that will do things like that. And that's okay. That's the way they do their business. I don't. I think I have, get more with honey versus vinegar in this business.
That's good. So what are you working on right now, Dan, that has you most excited?
Most excited right now, we're trying to get ready for the convention coming up here, in a couple weeks down in Corpus Christi. All of our time is sort of spent on doing that, making sure all the 8 hours of continuing education is ready to go, all the speakers are ready, that we have everything set up for everybody. I think you're going to be down there with us in a few weekends too. That's helping us with our Facebook. So that's awesome.
That's true. Yeah. I'm really excited about the conference. I haven't been to Corpus Christi before, but from what I understand is it's like, it's right on the beach. I was actually planning on I told my assistant, Nancy, like make it happen. I told her, call around and find out where we can do a bonfire on the beach. And she called everywhere. She says it's illegal to do a bonfire on the beach, I guess.
Well, it is sort of there because you're in the city limits. The hotel is right across the highway that's, right along the street. It's like the Pacific Coast Highway, but for the Gulf. Ain't nothing like the prettiness of that, but, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's within city limits. But if you go down to, say, Mustang Island there, they got a state park there that you can do it. On Aransas Pass, you can actually drive on the beach and camp out there. And so folks do things like that. So it's okay.
That might be something to plan in the future. Yeah, definitely go out and do like a big bonfire on the PSD bonfire on the beach,
Right.
So this is good stuff. So tell us a little bit about the TPSA. So like when I first learned about these associations and like what they can do for me, I always thought like, okay, I can have a listing on their website or on the directory, and then links will then link back to my website. Like I only saw it for the marketing perspective. And recently I learned that, in the last few years, I learned that the associations actually protect the industry and keep them alive. For Californians in particular, just to kind of set this tone for this topic here, is the idea that California, way back in the day, created one of the first associations. I think it was the first association. And then they helped create NABs. So the same folks created NABs. But tell us a little bit about Texas. Why should people be interested in TPSA?
Well, the big thing with the association, we started out like that as a network of process servers come together to help raise the standards of the industry. And eventually we got in to help do some legislation and lobbying to help guide how process server is being done. Yes, Texas is, considered, independent and not regulatory and stuff, but we felt that we needed to have a little bit of regulation so you didn't have felons out there serving papers. Because, sometimes you go to a door and a little kid will open a door and the mother and father are not home, and it's like, please close the door. It's like, if it was a felon going there, bad things could happen along the line. So we ended up doing it to try getting a certification program in which we eventually got going back in 2005 through that. And then still trying to work in the legislative area to allow like access to gated communities or apartment complex to allow us to give us information so they're not sued for giving supposedly privileged information or confidential information, along the lines of there. So, started out doing that and networking and going that. And now we're getting more we've been more in the education since about 2005 or so when I got on to actually helping process servers get certified and know what they're doing out there versus just some gutter snipe server off the street that just throws papers at people and, sort of tramples on their due process rights because they didn't properly identify them. And then citizens don't know that, hey, I don't have to respond to this. I wasn't served properly.
That's good.
Thing. So that's what the association does. And now we're moving more into, okay, now that the certification program a couple of years ago, the state said, hey, we got to have continuing education for servers. Once you get certified, you continue education. So now we're moving into that. And so what we want to do is put high quality continuing education courses together that people can learn how to be safe, how to follow the rules in Texas, especially when rules change. They're constantly changing every 2 years. Our legislature gets together and we have to be on top of that, make sure the rules are still there with us and not, throwing the rules away or getting rid of us with that. And so, we're effective in that. And so the CE, now we're trying to move for our members to be free for those that are members. So instead of paying, 20, 40, 50 hours a credit hour out there with other ones, we want to give our members a chance to have continuing education for free. So we're trying to add value to just, not just the networking portion of it, but why it would help you in your business along with the lines of that.
I love that. So a couple different things from what you said, questions I have. So if I'm a process server in Texas and, let's back it up. So let's say I want to be a process server and I'm in Texas. Right now, currently, are there any training opportunities that you can get certified online?
There are some online courses, but we're finding out from a lot of servers that have taken those courses, they end up coming through my course or, the association's course and sitting through, because it's a 7-hour course. We're gearing up to do ours where we put it online where you can go through and it's interactive. It's still a work in progress because we don't want to put the garbage out there that we see. And so we're eventually going to have that where you can take that 7-hour course online and then get set up to do a little mini testing center we're going to have so you can get your certificate.
Oh, wow. So essentially people can get the actual learning and the education online in the comfort of their own home. And then maybe come to the conference and you have like a little testing center where they can take a test based on what they learned or?
Right. Well, we want to start off by doing maybe a Zoom presentation on the weekend, a 7-hour course on the weekend, and then we could do the testing afterwards. I found an online testing that I'm trying to test right now that we could set up that they can go to and take a test that'll randomly produce 50 questions of everything we've covered out of maybe a test bank of 200. So everybody that goes in to click there gets their own individual test. Mm-hmm. And then once they pass it from 70% from the state requirements, we send them their certificate that then they can go to the state now and apply with the state.
That's really cool. So just, as technology kind of flows into the legal industry that's kind of really not wanting to come along for the ride, that's one thing I've noticed in the legal space. I think I haven't gotten a fax from anyone in about 5 years, but, when I first started, there were still people saying, can I send you a fax? I haven't gotten that for quite a while, but I know some people do. Some people still, they're stuck in the fax, for security, actually, I guess is one of the reasons. But let's dive a little bit into the conference. So every conference or convention, they call them different things, but at Texas, you guys call it the convention for now, right?
Yeah, we're trying to change it to like expo and job fair type thing.
Oh, very cool.
I think our bylaw says it's a conference, but we can change that eventually with the bylaws.
Yeah. So when people go to this, what's the benefit? I mean, like I've been to some of these conferences, Dan, where, I go to a conference and like I just sit there and I feel like I don't learn anything. I can barely hear the speaker up there. And then I sit there just forever. And for Texas, I get it. The CE thing, I get. You just mull through it. You got to get certified or whatever. So the online training program is going to solve that for those people. But the convention has other speakers and things and different things as well. What is the benefit to a business owner to make that investment, to make the trip?
Well, one of the big things is my business grew once I started getting face-to-face with other people from around Texas, because, time is money in this business. And if you can duplicate your efforts in the long run, that's when you get big and you make a lot of money, and then your servers are making money as well. And, you're taking care of others there. And so once I started meeting other servers, I started sending papers to them. They would send papers to me. Instead of me driving to Houston, which is 200 miles away, from San Antonio here, and charging a client $270 to do the $275, $280 to do the serve and have 6-7 hours out of my time, I can get a server over there to do it for $80, $90, $100. I upcharge my customer maybe, $50, $75. And instead of them paying $275, $280, now they're paying only, say, $175. So, the server wins, I win, the customer wins, and then the client for the attorney wins, because they're not being gouged. So once I started doing that, people were sending me papers from all over the state with that as well. And so I would send papers out, I would get papers in. And so it'd be time management, Now, instead of me making that $300 over a 7-hour period, I just made it now in a 1 hour period, because I dropped like 8 or 9 papers within that 3 7-hour period. So it's like, it can really duplicate your efforts and keep you tighter and work smart, not hard.
Okay, so this business principle of like creating systems is powerful. So by coming to the conference, though, you're saying that you're going to meet people that will give you discounts on services, or
right, discounts on services, because you're meeting a lot of process servers, but you're also meeting people in the industry like Serve Manager, database services, that process server toolbox. This convention, we have a guy coming down that's going to be teaching body cams, but then there's a company that's also bringing body cameras in, a security company, for sale and stuff like that. And so you get to learn a lot of different techniques. Last year's convention was all about safety, server safety at the door. Now, what if they should be attacked? How do they do self-defense with a guy that can really show it the easiest way? And then eventually, if you can't do that and you have to pull a weapon for deadly force, using that. So we had experts in that area talk about the use of deadly force. So every conference is a little different. So you get different nuggets out of there that'll help you in your business. But like I said, learning with seeing the different vendors and getting with them and learning their software and see how it can benefit you to save time and money in setting up your system is big.
I love that. So one of the things that's big when it comes to these conferences, that what you were saying is this is a volunteer organization, right? I mean, the people, correct, like for you, Dan, like I can't even imagine like the amount of time just even today, right? Like taking this time out of your life and out of your thing. What makes you give so much back?
Well, because I love to teach. I love to give back with that. I love imparting knowledge, and I even still learn today, techniques from other folks, because I'm in my own way of thinking, but now someone gives me a perspective. Oh, I never thought about it that way. Hey, that technique may work better. And so I love giving back to do it. And it's fun part of my life. It's not just about me. It's about all of us, as a community together, what we do. And so if we can help each other become better, that just, as they say, a rising tide raises all ships, so if everybody gets better, it's better for the industry, better for the citizens of Texas, and, around the country as well for other organizations.
I love it. So Server Nation, Dan has been dropping some major value bombs on us today. And so prepare yourself, because we're headed into the rapid fire round right after a word from our sponsors. Server Nation, imagine what you could do with another 25 minutes per job. This is how much time process servers who use Serve Manager are saving. At just 100 jobs per month, that's over 40 hours that can be spent growing your business or doing more important things like spending time with your family. From job creation to affidavit generation, Serve Manager is full-featured and hands down the most intuitive process serving software on the market. I use it for my business. I think you should use it too. In my firm, it's important for me to be able to automate the systems that get things done. Serve Manager has done just that with their API integration, where you can set up literally any app that integrates with Zapier will integrate with Serve Manager. I love it. I've set my whole firm up. Go to processserverdaily.com/Serve Manager to get your free trial. If you like it after the 14-day free trial, they've offered to give you another 60 days for free as a thank you for being a Process Server Daily listener. That's processserverdaily.com/Serve Manager. Welcome back to the show. Dan, are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Let's rock.
Awesome. So what is your favorite skip trace tactic?
Well, one thing up front is have the information up front before you even go out there. So one of the things I do in Texas, we have appraisal district records. So we can look up to see who owns the property, whether that person's homesteaded. If they homesteaded, they're getting a tax exemption for living there. So that helps us out, but we can find out if it's a rental or not. And my sort of pseudo favorite one, because it's the quickest and the cheapest, is when I'm out there, is using publicdata.com to run license plate as soon as I get on the on site. You know, before I even go to the door, I'm running license plates to see. Now, public data is about 6 months behind, you know, for Texas, and there's only really 5 states that allow their license plating, but, you know, it's cheap and easy, and I get $400 basically free, you know, for the monthly fee I'm paying. And so, you know, I can have my other servers use it as well. And so that helps out knowing up front before I go to the door. So I have that information in my back pocket. So I go, oh, they don't live here. Oh, really? Well, they own the house. That vehicle's parked to them, you know.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm not sure how well it would work in Texas, but there's another one called Deal Machine. It's an app called Deal Machine, and you guys can check it out. I actually love it. It's about $50 a month, so it's a little bit expensive, but you get a free trial so you can see if it even works for you. But one of the cool things is it's made for the real estate market, for finding wholesale deals and offering them money and finding out who even owns the house. So you just click on the map. On the map, you just click on the house, and it actually shows, within 2 seconds, it shows you who owns the house and if the person is an owner, an absentee owner, so you know if they live there or not. If it came up with an absentee owner, like such and such LLC, well, then it's a rental and you just don't know. Sorry about your luck, but it's a really cool way to quickly know, a little skip trace tip. So that's great.
What I like about the appraisal district records is they're free to do. Anybody can go on and look. And then it tells you who owns the house, but then it tells you where the property information is being mailed to. So you can tell if the person has another property or a different location, or like you said, it's that LLC or something along the lines of there. So each county has an appraisal district that you can do that. Of course, there's 254 counties around Texas. So
appraisal district records, is that a website or they just Google it?
Each county, like you got, Bexar County Appraisal District, bcad.org. Then you got like Wilson County, Wilson County Appraisal District. So you just ask, put the county name in there, like the Houston Harris County Appraisal District. You Google it and up it'll pop for that county.
That's awesome.
I think I've done some stuff for maybe Oklahoma, maybe some other states have similar appraisal district records too. And, being free versus $50 a month.
That's true. Yeah, that's
that works for Texas. I mean, granted, yours is for other states in California. It's a little different, but yeah.
Well, anytime you can pick up little tips and tricks like that, it's definitely helpful. That's why I love the rapid fire round. What do you use to track your cases?
I use Serve Manager software.
Okay.
I'm a Mac guy, and so back in the old days when PST, Process Servers Toolbox, was out there, they were Windows based only. I said, I'm not going to do, a Windows, a virtual, Windows machine going to do all that. And then Serve Manager, they build it on a Mac, but theirs is web based. So I got with Trent and the guys over there when they came to our conference and just fell in love with how easy that it would work. And to do. I mean, I haven't even gotten to all the different automated features that like you've done that I've got to learn to help automate a lot of this stuff. But man, it helps out. Granted, I feel like it's a little slower on the front end because you're putting all the stuff in ahead of time. But on the back end, it helps out a bunch when it comes time to affidavit generation. It can tell whether you're on a smartphone or a computer, and if you're on a smartphone, it lets you do GPS. So when you're in the field trying to get my other contractors that I'm collaborating with to use it in the field, like they'll have GPS and then speak into it. Hey, if it's unsuccessful, hey, there was no response to my knocking or ringing of the doorbell. A dog was barking at the house or, inside the house next to the front door. Vehicle so-and-so, license plate, such and such, registered to whoever there in the parking lot. And, so I'm recording that as I'm walking away. And so then I review it to make sure it's grammatically correct, and then hit send, and then all of a sudden the customer has it. They have it there, so they're updated, so you don't get the phone calls. Hey, what's the status? What's the status? What's the status? I hate those phone calls.
Yeah, I hate status calls as well. So so that's really cool. Serve Manager is what I use as well, as most people know. They are the sponsor of the show, so you can go check them out at processserverdaily.com/Serve Manager. But listen, one of the things that I love the most about this whole, when it comes to your different softwares, is the idea that you can choose. Right, like you're talking about slow on the front end. I think with a couple different automation pieces where you put in a form stack form and then people are able to like fill it out, it'll automatically be put into Serve Manager for you, or giving people access directly into your Serve Manager. Those are the two. By doing those two things, especially my bulk clients, I just tell them like, look, I don't do this for just anybody, but for you, I want to give you direct access into my Serve Manager. So I'm going to give you a lot. Essentially, you're just inviting them to collaborate.
Yeah, you're collaborating with them, right?
Yeah, but you make it a big deal so that they respect it and they actually use it. And then you go in and I went into their office and actually showed them how to use it. Like, this is how you do it. So now, like my biggest collection client, they just go in, and I'll get new jobs all the time come in directly into Serve Manager. And it's a cool feeling. It's been a while since we've set people up like that. It's just a cool feeling. And the idea, I don't have to do any data entry or take phone calls or anything, and it just goes directly in. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely Serve Manager. So there are different softwares out there. You can check them all out, but which I suggest doing if you're not sure, because I've used them all and I've come back to Serve Manager full circle because it's just the best. So, all right, on to the next thing that you use. So what book would you recommend?
Man, what book? I mean, I read the Bible a lot, so I'd have to go with that as the number one.
Of course.
How do you treat people,
That's good. Now, Old Testament or New?
But it's the whole thing is what I do, because the New Testament is based off the Old Testament, so you can't throw it out with the bathwater, type thing.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I like the New Testament better because it's talking about how I'm forgiven instead of.
Oh yeah, definitely. But and I like to get a Jewish perspective of why it's that way. People think I'm a little weird, but it's like, hey, that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their thing, but I guess, The Go-Getter, How to Win Friends, Influence People, guerrilla marketing for folks that are trying to start out, low cost ways to get their business going for new process servers. Those are all good books there. The Go-Getter and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, they're older books from way back when, but they still apply today. It's taking your eyes off yourself and putting them on others, and how can you serve others is the big thing, which again goes back to the Bible,
That's right.
others.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love it. And, the how to win friends and influence people. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're you hate people. Like, even if you're just like, you hate being around people, you're an introvert, how to win friends and influence people, it sounds like, you're going to influence people, you're going to sell people. And like, while that's true, and I think he was targeting like a sales market when he made that title, of course, but actually just as a person, you learn how to build a relationship. It says how to win friends. So I guess, but like building relationship, try this one thing from the book. And for those of you guys that are listening, try when you're talking to somebody, don't think about anything else except for what they're saying. And every time you respond to like what they're saying and ask them questions and be genuinely interested in them for 5 minutes as a test, and then see how they treat you afterward. It's like night and day.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because it's showing you're taking an interest in them, because people just want, what can I get from you right now, and then move on. And it's like, no. It's not a taking society, it's a giving.
That's true. And we also pick up on people's cues when they're listening, when they're not listening, and things like that. So I know we're a little pressed for time, and this is supposed to be rapid fire round, but there's so much gold. So what is the greatest advice you've ever received?
Wow, the greatest advice: have a positive attitude. Have fun with what you're doing. It was a real mental change when I was working with the British forces in Europe with the Ground Launch Cruise Missile Program. We'd go out in the field, and every time we go out in the field in England, it was raining. So our slogan was, if it's not raining, we weren't training. So we were always in the field. So I was miserable, and the Brits there, the regiment, the British regiment for the Royal Air Force, they said, look, Dan, it's all about your attitude here. You can be happy or you can be mad, but either way, you're going to be wet. So choose what you want. So at that point, it just was a snap and like, okay, I'm going to be happy about being out here, and so have a good attitude to what you're doing. You're providing a service for others. It's part of the legal system that everybody's entitled to, their due process. And so, have fun with what you're doing, with it. And you meet people every day that's different. Even though the mechanics are still the same, it's a new person every day with it.
That's good. That's great advice. So this last question, as we wrap this up here, this great interview, Dan, is take us to a place where you are. Dan, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow with all of the same skills and knowledge, but you didn't know anybody, and you only had $100, a smartphone, and a car? How would you regrow your business to the awesome one that it is today?
All right. Is rent coming due?
Yes.
With that. Yeah, that's a good one. And I would probably, it would take me out of my comfort zone because I'm a more behind the scenes nuts and bolts guy. I'm not the kind of guy that goes to offices and market and push myself out there. I'm more of let my word do the talking and grow word of mouth. But I would be out there downtown near the courthouse, hitting the attorney, the law firms that are around that area, and then working out within the downtown area to just introduce myself, see how I can serve them and meet their needs. And if they're ever looking for a process server, or they're not happy with their current one, here you go. I'll be willing to do it. If they go on vacation, give me a buzz. I'll help you out. And, I'll give you a free one if you need to show that I'm really good at what I do.
I love that. One of the things that I've really been fascinated with since I very first started was in the process serving world is that whenever I go to the courthouse, I get another job. Like wear your shirt with your logo on it, maybe even wear a t-shirt if you're the guy that's out serving all day and you got all your gear on or whatever. Like different places are different, okay? But like have something on your back that says, process server, professional, something with your phone number on it because people will text you. People will, say things to you. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been there. When I first started, it was 530 process servers because that was our area code.
Right.
And, people would just call and text like crazy every time I went to the courthouse. So you know how to light fire on that. This is just something, I've been doing a lot of different things here in the last year, not a whole lot of interviews. And so I think it'd be a good opportunity to say this. Like, if you're not sure, like go get a recorder. There's something amazing that happens when you take on the role of the media guy. Go to the courthouse and say, with a little camcorder in your hand, like I have a real nice professional one right here, but you could get one at Walmart for like $20 or $30 and go to the courthouse with your idea, like with your idea that you're talking about. Go to the courthouse and tell people, I'm interviewing lawyers in the area and I want to find out what thing, like what's the buzz, right? Like maybe it's e-filing. In California, e-filing is a big thing. How is e-filing affecting your business? And then after you've had that little mini interview with them, have a card ready and say, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. One of the things I do that I'm really good at is finding people and serving them. So here's my card. And like you said, so now what did I just do? I, in theory, gave them value because in their minds, they're like, okay, he just interviewed me. I don't know where this thing is going to end up, but it's going to end up online somewhere. I'm going to get free publicity out of this thing. There's just so much power in that. So I appreciate that. I think that is great. Working your way out, I think, is genius too, because you can keep coming back to that courthouse every morning. Don't be a sign spinner necessarily. I mean, if you had to be, you could go out there with a sign and spin it around and go process server. I thought about doing that, actually, paying somebody to do that. There's a guy in Sacramento that does that, legal document preparer. He's got a sign spinner and he's got an office across the street with it, so the arrow's pointing at his office, and it's just genius.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's a good idea, with the interview. I like that. And like I said, even a shirt with your number on your back, because when you go to the courthouse, I'm always talking to attorneys or someone's filing, even someone's doing pro se work, I'll hand out my card with it there so they can know. And it's like, hey, if you ever need one, think about it. We'll take care of you for you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. One of the things is just being different, right? Just be different than other people when you're out there, so that when people interact with you, they're like, oh, he's that guy that's different, right? So that's good. That's the other reason I like business cards that are different too. Don't just get a rectangle business card, get like a key. Or like it could be a cardboard key or whatever, but like get like something different. So when they look at it, they take a moment and their brain goes like, huh, That little you did it right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Be different with it.
Definitely. I had some made that were look like credit cards, and they go, the key to your success or whatever was one, and then the credit card was it money, something related to, now you can go forward with your goals or whatever, reach your goals and your dreams with this success card or something. Right. And it had my phone number, as the card number, as the.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of cool things you can do to be different, but what is your parting piece of advice?
If you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be hard for you. So people says, well, is this process serving a job for you? It says, no, it's more, it's a career and stuff that we're doing, but I'm having fun with it. So I don't look at it as a job, because I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm helping others. It's not as much as when I was helping others in the medical field because, you're helping people's lives that way, but you're helping them out legally wise because, we have that system in place. At least you don't get thrown in jail for, debtors prisons type thing along that lines for not paying your credit cards. You can have your day in court. And so have fun with it. I look forward to every day of going out there and just doing it. Are there times that I don't want to get up and do? Yeah, there's times, but as an independent contractor, you can set your own schedule, but you got to be out there doing it. So have fun with it. I mean, that's the basic thing. Have fun with what you're doing and enjoy it.
That's good. Yeah. If you find yourself out there serving and it's just not, and you're having a hard time, emotionally, I know certain people in my life that if they were to go out serving with me, they would cry after every stop, serving's not for them. It's just not. I feel like we have this Grim Reaper mentality that we need to have that, hey, it's not me. I'm just here. I'm just doing my job. And while it might feel like I'm the Grim Reaper, I'm actually just a person who's trying to protect your rights as an American citizen. So without getting on a soapbox, I think that's some great advice. Have some fun, get out there, serve some papers. The other thing too is what motivates me is just to while I'm out there having fun, find opportunities to do good. I can't tell you how many times I've been out there serving someone and help someone jump their car,
Oh, definitely. I got a little mobile charger that will start cars. I think I got a long time ago from Solutions in Science or something like that. You have it charged up and you can jump. I've jumped about 8 cars in a row before it died. You charge your cell phone and other things off of it as well. So yeah, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. And you just feel good too. You're out there, you're doing your job, doing a good job, and you're out there doing good in the world too. And it's that positive reciprocity definitely will come back to you. So Dan, what is the best way that we can connect with you? And then we'll say goodbye.
Well, our work number, 210-332-8773. That'll ring to my personal cell if you need to contact me. We normally answer the phone. We don't like not answering the phone. Try not to call me at midnight. And then expressprocess.com is our website.
Very cool. Very cool. Dan, well, I want to personally thank you for coming on the show, man. I've been impressed with your story, and I'm excited to share it with the world.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to seeing you down at the conference in a few weeks.
Definitely. Until next time, Server Nation, you've been served up some awesomeness by Dan the Man and Mighty Mike, the podcast server. Do you want more of the tips, tools, and tactics to take your business to the next level? Visit psduniversity.com and learn the 5 pillars of automation that helped my legal support company break the 6-figure mark in just 8 months. Get your free copy of Automation Domination today.